So we got something right in this communication process and this awareness creation process. The same commission also turned around and got the political parties to raise their bar on compliance. And that fear has brought in better compliance. So to me, yes, income tax rules is a one parallel, but if you want to talk to the larger majority of India, because income tax again, returns are not more than 2.5–3%, but 80% vote, or 80% of the votable people vote. Right? So to them give the example of election commission. And that's what so there are enough case studies in India of path-breaking work done in the last 15–20 years. Unfortunately, some of them have happened on the back of some issues. And that sullies the growth. So the telecom revolution happened, but there have been issues both in the mid-90s, when the actual boom started, and more recently. But nothing will take away from the fact that today 600 to 700 million people have access to cell phones and use it. So it is not that it is not we can be very defeatist and say that this is not possible in our country. India is like that only. But if you look at the case studies, we've done path-breaking work in several. So to me, the first confidence building measure will come around a series of things to protect the investor. The second will come around corporate governance. And I'm not going to be cliched about it, because this subject can be a PhD thesis project, or this subject can be extremely basic that a lot of people can relate to. And a share is a share in a business. When a promoter decides to invite somebody to contribute to his company, from that day onwards it's no more his company. It becomes a public company. Yes, he is the promoter, he may have a large stake, but the great market, because of that public offering and the listing thereafter, has allowed him to monetize his wealth. In return for that, he owes that minority investor all the protection. Corporate governance in India is a different challenge from the West. In fact, the entire Oriental is a different challenge from the West. It is different because we are at a different stage of evolution. The West went through this maybe 100 years ago, 150 years ago. We are now evolving, so we are going through this. The challenge for India is not about owner versus management. The challenge for India is owner is management, or majority owner is management. So you need to protect the minority owner from the majority owner who is management. And we need to protect him in a way that the person believes that he will not be done. So to me, if you have to get more people in, yes, there will be headline stories of, oh, this scam happened, Satyam happened. I don't think we can make our objective in life to say that, oh, we will do something. You have to do what you have to do. Keep working at better policies, keep working at better enforcement of those policies and all the authorities there. But make that corporate governance not some high-sounding word for boardroom conversations and seminars, but make it something that the common investor can relate to. And what he needs to relate to is the fact that his interest as a minority, albeit a minority, will be protected, will not be compromised upon. And while that's easier said, it is extremely difficult to make that effect. But that's the challenge for the regulator. I call it, to me, the most beautiful invention, which a US former central banker actually said, the last useful innovation in finance was the ATM machine, which was what, 20, 30 years ago or more. the last useful innovation. And the beauty of the ATM machine is, for the user, it is the simplest thing. You put card, put pin, get money. What goes behind is extremely complex. Hopefully it's not a human being rolling out cash. But what goes behind in the machine. So do all your complexity behind, but it should be, the front should be easy, simple to understand, easy to use. So the challenge for us is, how do we translate this exotic concept, very complex subject of corporate governance, into something simple that a person can believe, not just understand, but believe that it will work in his favor as a minority shareholder. That to me is the key in this. The third is, as a country, in terms of attitude to equity markets, there's a popular saying, the worker in California gets to invest in Indian equities, the worker in India cannot. So somewhere we have to walk the talk, which is, I'm not talking about walk the talk as equity market, I'm talking about walk the talk of India as an investment destination. If India is a darling destination for a lot of overseas investors, right? And don't look at short-term flows. It's important to look at long-term. One of the things about us as a community is we overestimate what is achievable in the short term. And when it is not achieved, get disillusioned, disheartened, and even walk away. And therefore, underestimate what can be achieved in the long term and miss the big story.